My beloved child, listen very carefully to this moment, because this message did not arrive by accident. Archangel Michael steps forward right now with urgency in his voice, and what he is revealing is not meant to frighten you, but to protect you. Someone has already made a move against your life partner. Not tomorrow. Not someday. It has already happened. And the reason you are seeing this now is mercy. Divine mercy intervening before a window quietly closes. Pause for a second and feel that heaviness you have been sensing lately. That unexplained concern. That sudden thought about your partner that came out of nowhere. Those were not random emotions. That was your spirit picking up on a shift in the unseen. Archangel Michael says the attack was subtle, carefully hidden, and wrapped in normal-looking circumstances. That is why you could not clearly identify it with your natural eyes. Hear this clearly. This was not only about your partner as an individual. It was about the covenant connected to the two of you. The enemy never wastes effort on what carries no future. What is protected so fiercely by heaven is often targeted quietly by opposition. That is why this message found you now and not later. Archangel Michael reveals that the move was not loud or dramatic. It did not come with chaos or obvious danger. Instead, it came through influence, distraction, misunderstanding, emotional distance, or interference from someone who should not have had access. A word spoken at the wrong time. A guise that sounded harmless. A delay that created space for confusion. These are the tactics being used. My beloved child, you must understand this. The timing of this message is everything. Mercy has opened a small window for awareness and correction. Not panic. Awareness. Panic clouds judgment, but awareness restores authority. Archangel Michael is not here to tell you that something is lost. He is here to tell you that something can still be preserved. There hath been a covering over your partner's life that you did not even realize was there. You have prayed prayers in the past that you forgot about, but heaven did not forget. Those prayers created resistance in the unseen. They slowed things down. They bought time. And now, that time has delivered this message to you. Archangel Michael says the move against your life partner was designed to weaken alignment, not necessarily to destroy immediately. Because when alignment weakens, protection thins. That is the strategy. Separation before harm. Confusion before collapse. But heaven intercepted the sequence. Notice how this message says, "Please open this before the window closes." That is not pressure. That is precision. There is a specific season where obedience is easiest and restoration flows naturally. Archangel Michael says you are standing inside that season right now. You may be wondering, why us? The answer is not fear-based. It is purpose-based. Your connection with your life partner carries a future assignment that affects more than just the two of you. Others are meant to be strengthened through your unity. That is why interference was attempted quietly rather than aggressively. Archangel Michael stands guard over households, covenants, and divine assignments. He says to tell you this: do not confront blindly, do not accuse emotionally, and do not withdraw in silence. None of those paths lead to victory. Instead, clarity, prayerful authority, and calm alignment are required in this moment. There is something you are meant to notice very soon. A pattern. A repeated situation. A name. A conversation that keeps resurfacing. When it appears again, do not dismiss it. That is where wisdom must be applied. Mercy has exposed the location of the breach, even if it has not yet revealed every detail. My beloved child, this is not about controlling your partner or fearing loss. It is about standing in your rightful position. Archangel Michael says, when you stand in peace instead of panic, the atmosphere around your partner shifts immediately. Protection strengthens when faith leads the response. You may feel the urge to overthink right now. Resist that. Overthinking is not discernment. Stillness is. Archangel Michael instructs you to slow down your reactions and heighten your awareness. The more grounded you are, the clearer the next steps will become. This message is mercy because without it, the move would have progressed quietly until confusion felt normal. But now, confusion has been interrupted. That interruption is grace. That interruption is heaven saying, "Not on my watch." Do not ignore this stirring in your spirit. Do not treat this as just another video. Archangel Michael says this awareness is a key. Keys are small, but they open doors that strength cannot force. What you do next matters more than what already happened. Take a deep breath. You are not late. You are right on time. The window is still open. And as long as it is open, restoration, protection, and clarity are available to you. Chosen one, steady your heart as this unfolds further, because Archangel Michael is not only revealing what has happened, but why it was allowed to reach this point. He says many people misunderstand mercy. Mercy is not always gentle feelings or visible rescue. Sometimes mercy is early information before consequences harden into permanence. What you are receiving right now is early information. There is a reason the move against your life partner did not fully manifest. The interference met resistance it did not expect. Archangel Michael says your partner carries an inner restraint placed there by God long ago. Even when they are unsure, even when they feel pulled in different directions, something inside them resists crossing certain lines. That restraint slowed the plan. It disrupted the timing. It frustrated what was meant to unfold quietly. Understand this clearly. The move was not necessarily from hatred. In many cases, it was fueled by envy, insecurity, or unhealed wounds in someone else. Archangel Michael reveals that when people see a bond they cannot replicate, they sometimes attempt to influence it rather than confront their own emptiness. Influence feels safer than direct confrontation. That is why discernment is required now, not emotional reaction. You may have sensed a recent change in your partner's tone, priorities, or energy. Not drastic, but subtle. That subtle shift is exactly what heaven wanted you to notice before it grew stronger. Archangel Michael says subtlety is often the loudest warning for those who are spiritually attentive. This is important. Do not assume your partner is fully aware of what is happening. Influence does not always announce itself. Sometimes it feels like logic. Sometimes it feels like tiredness. Sometimes it feels like needing space. That is why Archangel Michael urges you to respond with wisdom rather than suspicion. Wisdom keeps doors open. Suspicion slams them shut. He says there is a conversation ahead that must be handled with calm authority, not emotion. Timing matters. Tone matters. Intention matters. The goal is not to expose anyone. The goal is to restore alignment. When alignment returns, external influence loses its power naturally. Archangel Michael also reveals something encouraging. The very fact that you are still connected, still sensing, still caring, means the bond has not been broken. Attacks that succeed usually create numbness, not concern. Your concern is evidence of life. It is evidence of a connection still breathing. You are being asked to take your position seriously now. This is not a season for passivity. Passivity looks peaceful on the surface, but it often creates space for confusion. Archangel Michael says authority does not require control. Authority requires presence. When you show up grounded, aware, and prayerful, the atmosphere changes without force. Let me speak directly to you for a moment. If this message is resonating, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video so the signal strengthens. Share it with someone who needs discernment right now. Comment so the algorithm pushes this message to others standing in a similar window of mercy. Subscribe to this channel if you want to stay connected to messages that guard, warn, and restore. When you engage, you are not just supporting content. You are helping truth reach people before it is too late. Archangel Michael says something else that may surprise you. This situation is also a test of how you steward information. Will you react impulsively, or will you respond intentionally? Information without wisdom becomes noise. Information with wisdom becomes protection. That is why heaven released this in layers, not all at once. There is a strengthening happening in you as you listen. You are being trained, not just warned. Trained to sense earlier. Trained to stand firmer. Trained to respond instead of react. What you learn here will serve you far beyond this moment. Your partner's path is not derailed. It is being redirected. Interference only succeeds when it goes unnoticed. Now that it has been noticed, its influence begins to weaken. Archangel Michael says awareness is the beginning of reversal. You may notice resistance rising internally as you listen. That resistance is not intuition. It is fear trying to regain control. Fear wants silence. Discernment invites clarity. Choose clarity. This message is also stabilizing something unseen. Even as you listen, the spiritual atmosphere around your partner is adjusting. Prayers you have not yet spoken are already forming. Intentions you are about to set are already being prepared. This is how mercy operates. It moves ahead of action. Hold on to this truth. Nothing that belongs to God can be stolen quietly when heaven is watching. Delays do not mean denial. Silence does not mean absence. Archangel Michael is active, not distant. Before you move away from this moment, stay with this flow a little longer. What comes next will connect the missing pieces and show you how this window of mercy can be used wisely. Hold on. You will want to hear what is revealed next, because this is where clarity deepens and direction becomes unmistakable. My precious one, receive this with stillness, because Archangel Michael now shifts from warning into revelation. What was hidden begins to surface, not to expose in shame, but to restore in truth. He says the reason mercy intervened is because heaven intends preservation, not loss. The unseen conflict around your life partner has reached a point where clarity must replace confusion. Archangel Michael reveals that the move made against your partner was timed during a moment of vulnerability. Not weakness, but openness. A season where questions were forming internally, where transitions were already happening, where fatigue or pressure made influence easier to enter. This is not failure. This is humanity. And heaven never abandons people in human moments. There is something important you must understand now. Influence does not always arrive as temptation. Sometimes it arrives as validation. Someone affirming doubts your partner had not yet voiced. Someone offering understanding without accountability. Someone presenting alternatives that sound reasonable, even helpful. This is why the interference felt subtle instead of alarming. Archangel Michael says what protects your partner most is not confrontation, but alignment. When two people realign spiritually and emotionally, every outside voice loses volume. Alignment restores clarity. Alignment restores peace. Alignment restores direction. You are being guided to create space for honesty without interrogation. Space for conversation without accusation. Space for grounding without pressure. When the space is created, truth surfaces naturally. There is no need to dig aggressively. What belongs to light always rises when the atmosphere is safe. This is where many people make mistakes. They sense danger and react with fear. Fear pushes too hard. Fear rushes timing. Fear assumes the worst. Archangel Michael says fear is not your guide here. Discernment is. Discernment listens before it speaks. Discernment waits before it moves. Discernment trusts God's timing even when emotions are loud. He also says something reassuring. The person or situation involved does not have lasting access. The door was never fully opened. It was tested, not entered. That is why intervention came now instead of later. Heaven intervenes strongest at thresholds. Notice how this message did not come with names, faces, or accusations. That is intentional. If heaven revealed everything at once, it would overwhelm rather than heal. Instead, you are being led step by step, so peace stays intact while clarity increases. You may feel an urge to pull back emotionally to protect yourself. Archangel Michael cautions against emotional withdrawal. Withdrawal creates distance, and distance creates room for misunderstanding. Stay present. Stay grounded. Stay anchored in truth, not assumptions. There is also a blessing hidden in this situation. This exposure strengthens your discernment for the future. You will recognize subtle shifts earlier. You will trust your inner warnings faster. You will respond with wisdom rather than doubt. What almost disrupted alignment is now reinforcing it. Archangel Michael says to tell you this clearly: nothing has been ruined. Nothing sacred has been lost. The covenant still stands. The connection still breathes. What was attempted quietly will now dissolve quietly. As this unfolds, you may notice changes without confrontation. A sudden clarity in your partner. A pulling away from certain influences. A return to old values. These are signs of realignment, not coincidence. Hold your posture steady. Pray without panic. Speak without accusation. Love without fear. This combination is powerful. It disarms interference without creating new wounds. Now receive this instruction gently. Do not rush to explain everything you are sensing. Let God do what only God can do. Human force often delays divine resolution. Trust that what has been revealed to you is enough for this moment. Archangel Michael stands watch over this transition. He says the window of mercy is still open, and because you stayed attentive, it will not close prematurely. Timing is being redeemed. If this message is speaking directly to your spirit, participate in this moment of faith. Type "I receive divine protection" in the comments if you feel this confirmation. Lesson code 444 is now released over your household. And hear this final instruction flowing naturally from what has just been revealed. This message did not come only for you. It came because there are others whose life partners are under silent pressure, and they do not yet see it. When you support this mission, you help light reach them before confusion becomes damage. I hear the Lord saying, as you sow into this word, I will guard what is precious to you. Your support becomes oil in the lamp, keeping revelation burning. This is good ground, and what you release here returns as protection, clarity, and peace. Act now through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, because obedience delayed is opportunity missed. The PayPal link is waiting in the description. Step forward and sow, and may Archangel Michael stand watch over all you hold dear. Beloved one, settle into this moment, because Archangel Michael now speaks about what happens after mercy is revealed. Many people think the hardest part is discovering that something was attempted. In truth, the real work begins after awareness. What you do with this knowledge determines whether peace deepens or tension grows. Heaven is watching your posture more than your actions right now. Archangel Michael says that once interference is exposed, it often tries to create noise. Not new influence, but internal noise. Overthinking. Replaying conversations. Imagining outcomes that have not happened. This noise is designed to exhaust you emotionally so that you act from fear instead of wisdom. Be very aware of this tactic. Silence your mind before you try to fix anything externally. There is a stabilizing role you are being asked to play. Stabilizers do not react dramatically. They bring calm into shaky environments. They slow the pace so clarity can catch up. Your calm presence in this season is not weakness. It is authority expressed quietly. Archangel Michael reveals that your partner is already sensing a shift, even if they cannot articulate it yet. When external influence loses its grip, people often feel disoriented before they feel clear. This can look like quietness, withdrawal, or restlessness. Do not misinterpret this as distance from you. It is distance from confusion. You must resist the temptation to demand immediate answers. Healing alignment is not instant, but it is intentional. Pressure speeds nothing up here. Patience accelerates restoration. Archangel Michael reminds you that God is not anxious about outcomes. Trust grows when you mirror that confidence. There is also something happening within you. You are learning to trust your discernment without becoming suspicious. This balance is rare and powerful. Discernment without suspicion protects relationships instead of damaging them. You are being trained for long-term stability, not short-term relief. You may notice moments where old insecurities surface unexpectedly. Thoughts like, what if I missed something? Or what if it happens again? These thoughts are not warnings. They are echoes. Echoes have no power unless you respond to them. Let them pass without engagement. Archangel Michael says this clearly. Fear thrives on imagined futures. Faith rests in present truth. The present truth is this. The move was interrupted. The window of mercy is active, and alignment is returning. Stay anchored in what is true now, not what fear predicts later. There is also a call for quiet prayer in this season. Not dramatic declarations, not anxious pleading, but steady, confident communication with God. Simple prayers carry weight when spoken from peace. Even moments of silent intention are being received. You are not required to monitor your partner constantly. Monitoring creates strain and suspicion. Trust the process that has already begun. Heaven does not reveal something and then abandon it. Archangel Michael is not stepping back now. He is standing guard. Be mindful of who you confide in during this time. Not everyone needs to know what you are discerning. Too many voices can dilute wisdom. Share only with those who carry peace and maturity. Silence is sometimes protection. Archangel Michael also speaks about timing again. There will be a natural opening for conversation. You will recognize it because it will not feel forced. It will feel calm. When that moment comes, speak from clarity, not accusation. Express what you sense, not what you fear. This distinction matters greatly. You are being reminded that love does not mean ignoring warning signs, and discernment does not mean assuming betrayal. Both extremes harm what you are trying to protect. Walk the middle path of wisdom. There is another reassurance you need to hear. Whatever was attempted did not change your partner's core values. Influence can cloud, but it cannot rewrite what God established unless it is given permission. That permission was never granted. This season is also strengthening your spiritual authority. You will notice yourself less reactive in future situations, less shaken by subtle shifts, more grounded in truth. This is growth born out of mercy. Archangel Michael says many people pray for protection but resist awareness. You received both. That is a sign of trust from heaven. You were trusted with this information because you have the capacity to steward it well. Remain present. Remain loving. Remain prayerful. These are not passive states. They are powerful positions. As this message settles, allow yourself to rest in the knowing that what was meant to destabilize has instead strengthened your foundation. This is how God redeems situations quietly and effectively. Stay with this unfolding. What is coming next will bring even deeper clarity about how alignment is preserved long-term and how the situation transforms into lasting strength rather than lingering concern. My dear one, as this message continues to unfold, Archangel Michael now draws your attention to the deeper layer beneath everything you have sensed so far. What happened around your life partner was not only an external attempt, it was also a moment meant to reveal internal strength. Heaven is not only protecting what you have, it is strengthening who you are becoming. Archangel Michael said there are seasons when protection looks like prevention, and seasons when protection looks like education. This moment is the latter. You are learning how influence works, how alignment is maintained, and how discernment must be exercised without fear. These lessons will serve you for the rest of your life, long after the situation has fully resolved. There is something very important you must hear now. The enemy often studies patterns. When it noticed consistency, commitment, and future vision connected to your bond, it looked for an entry point during transition. Transition seasons are not dangerous by default, but they are sensitive. Awareness during transition is what keeps stability intact. That awareness has now been activated in you. Archangel Michael says your partner is not drifting away from destiny. They are navigating change. Change without guidance feels confusing. Change with alignment becomes growth. Your role is not to anchor them by force, but to walk beside them with clarity and peace. You may feel a desire to fix everything quickly so you can move on emotionally. Be careful with that urge. Quick fixes often bypass necessary understanding. This situation is not asking for urgency, it is asking for maturity. Maturity does not rush healing. It allows it to complete its work. There will be moments when silence feels uncomfortable. Silence is not absence. Silence is integration. Both you and your partner are processing shifts that cannot be rushed through words. Trust that not everything needs to be spoken immediately to be resolved. Archangel Michael also speaks about your identity in this season. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not someone reacting to hidden moves. You are a watchful steward. Stewards observe, protect, and respond with wisdom. When you see yourself this way, fear loses its grip. You might notice that your emotional reactions are already changing. Where you once would have spiraled, you now pause. Where you once would have assumed, you now discern. This is not accidental. This is evidence that mercy is actively shaping you. Here is also a warning, spoken gently. Do not allow curiosity to turn into investigation. Investigation driven by fear creates narratives that are not real. Trust what has been revealed without demanding more than what is necessary. Heaven reveals enough to protect, not enough to overwhelm. Archangel Michael reassures you that nothing is being hidden from God. You do not need to uncover every detail to ensure safety. What must be known will surface at the right time, in the right way, without damaging trust. This season is also restoring balance between you and your partner. Balance is not about equal actions, but mutual grounding. As you remain steady, it gives your partner space to recalibrate without pressure. This is how alignment deepens naturally. You may sense moments of peace followed by moments of doubt. This does not mean progress is reversing. It means your mind is adjusting to a new level of awareness. New awareness often feels unfamiliar at first. Do not interpret that discomfort as danger. Archangel Michael says to remind you of this truth. God does not reveal something only to leave you alone with it. Revelation always comes with provision. Protection has already been assigned. Guidance is already active. You are not carrying this alone. Be mindful of how you speak about this situation internally. The words you repeat in your mind shape your emotional posture. Replace what if with God is. Replace imagined outcomes with present trust. This shift matters more than you realize. There is also an invitation here. This experience is teaching you how to lead with peace. Peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is confidence in divine oversight. When you walk in that confidence, others around you feel it too. Archangel Michael says something powerful here. What was meant to quietly destabilize your bond has instead activated a deeper level of unity, even if you cannot see it fully yet. Unity formed through discernment is stronger than unity formed through ease. As you continue forward, do not measure progress by dramatic changes. Measure it by increased calm, clearer thoughts, and steadier emotions. These are signs that alignment is restoring itself from the inside out. Remain patient with the process. Remain kind to yourself. Remain open to God's guidance. Everything that needed to be intercepted has been intercepted. Everything that needs to realign is realigning. What comes next will help you understand how this experience fits into a bigger picture and how it prepares both of you for what lies ahead, not with fear, but with confidence and strength. Stay attentive, because the next revelation ties everything together in a way that brings lasting peace. Beloved soul, Archangel Michael now brings your attention to something extremely practical yet deeply spiritual. What protects alignment after awareness is consistency. Not intensity, not emotional effort, but consistent posture. Many people respond correctly at first and then slowly drift back into old reactions. This is where stability is either strengthened or weakened. Heaven is inviting you into steadiness. Archangel Michael says the atmosphere around your connection is sensitive right now, not fragile. Sensitivity means it responds quickly to shifts. When peace enters, it multiplies. When tension enters, it also multiplies. That is why your inner state matters more than your words. Your emotional tone is shaping the environment more than you realize. You are being asked to guard your reactions, especially in moments when nothing seems to be happening. Quiet seasons often trigger anxiety because the mind wants movement. But stillness is not stagnation. Stillness is consolidation. What has been corrected needs time to settle into permanence. There is also a temptation to test reassurance, to look for signs, confirmations, or repeated proof that everything is okay. Archangel Michael gently warns against this. Testing peace often disturbs it. Trust is built by resting, not by repeatedly checking. Your partner is adjusting internally. Adjustment is rarely loud. It happens in thought patterns, priorities, and internal clarity. Do not demand visible change too quickly. Real change always begins invisibly. When it becomes visible, it is already rooted. Archangel Michael also speaks about your discernment maturing. Earlier, discernment felt urgent and intense, and now it is becoming calm and clear. This is growth. Discernment that stays loud for too long turns into anxiety. Discernment that settles into peace becomes wisdom. You may notice moments where you feel unexpectedly calm about the situation. Receive those moments without suspicion. Peace does not mean you missed something. Peace means alignment is returning. Let peace do its work. There is a call here to re-anchor your daily focus. Do not let this situation dominate your thoughts. Life is larger than one moment, even an important one. When you remain balanced, you prevent this issue from becoming a pressure point again. Archangel Michael reminds you that your life partner is not defined by a moment of influence. People are not reduced to seasons. God sees the whole journey. Extend that same grace. Now hear this clearly, because this is where many people lose momentum. Do not isolate yourself emotionally while waiting for clarity. Isolation weakens perspective. Stay connected to joy, routine, faith, and grounding activities. Stability in other areas reinforces stability here. If this message is helping you stay centered, make sure you engage with it. Like this video so it continues reaching those who need discernment before damage. Share it with someone who may be sensing quiet pressure in their relationship. Comment to let this message gain momentum and reach others standing in a similar moment. Subscribe to this channel so you stay aligned with messages that protect, warn, and restore. When you do these things, you help spread awareness that saves people from silent confusion. Archangel Michael says engagement is not just digital action. It is participation in a flow of truth. When truth moves, deception loses ground. Your small actions help create larger impact. There is also something else being stabilized now. Your confidence. Confidence not in outcomes, but in God's involvement. You are learning that you do not have to control to be safe. You have to trust. Moments may arise where old thoughts try to return, asking, "What if this happens again?" Archangel Michael says to answer those thoughts with truth, not argument. Simply remind yourself that awareness is now active. What is seen cannot operate the same way again. Be mindful of impatience disguised as logic. Thoughts like, "We should already be past this," are not wisdom. Healing does not follow emotional timelines. It follows alignment timelines. This season is quietly teaching you endurance. Endurance is not dramatic faith. It is faith that stays steady even when emotions fluctuate. That endurance will serve you well in future seasons of growth and responsibility. Archangel Michael also reassures you that your prayers are not hitting a ceiling. Even the prayers you cannot articulate clearly are being interpreted by heaven. God understands intention beyond language. Remain anchored. Remain calm. Remain open. This is how protection becomes permanent rather than temporary. Before this message continues further, stay with this moment. There's a deeper layer ahead that reveals why this situation had to be intercepted now, and how it connects to what is coming next in your life. Hold on, because what unfolds next brings clarity that ties everything together in a way you do not want to miss. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now invites you to look beyond the immediate situation and into the spiritual architecture surrounding your life. What you experienced was not random, and it was not isolated. It was a checkpoint. A moment where heaven assessed readiness, not just protection. That is for what comes next. There are seasons when God allows awareness to increase because responsibility is about to expand. You cannot steward greater things with lesser discernment. This moment sharpened you, not because danger was winning, but because destiny is approaching. Archangel Michael says this was less about rescue and more about preparation. You may not realize it yet, but something ahead requires stronger emotional maturity, clear boundaries, and deeper trust between you and your partner. If the subtle interference had not been intercepted now, it could have resurfaced later under heavier pressure. Mercy acted early so the foundation could be reinforced before weight was added. Archangel Michael explains that relationships connected to purpose are tested in layers. The first layer is attraction. The second is commitment. The third is alignment under pressure. You are crossing into the third layer. That is where distractions become quieter but more strategic. That is also where unity becomes essential. This is why you were given awareness instead of accusation. Heaven is teaching you how to protect unity without damaging trust. That lesson is priceless. There is also something shifting in your identity. You are no longer reacting from fear of loss. You are beginning to respond from confidence in stewardship. This shift changes everything. When fear leads, people cling. When stewardship leads, people protect wisely. Archangel Michael says your partner is also being shaped by this moment, even if you cannot see it clearly yet. Internal realignment often happens without announcement. Values recalibrate. Priorities adjust. Boundaries strengthen quietly. This is happening beneath the surface. Do not underestimate the power of what is not visible yet. Seeds grow underground long before they break soil. Pulling them up too early only damages growth. Trust the unseen work. You may feel a strange mix of relief and vigilance. Relief because danger was interrupted. Vigilance because you are now more aware. This balance is healthy when guided by peace. Let peace be the governor of vigilance, not anxiety. Archangel Michael also speaks about forgiveness, not because a major wrong occurred, but because lingering suspicion poisons connection. Forgiveness here is preventative. It clears the atmosphere so alignment can deepen without residue. Forgiveness does not mean pretending nothing happened. It means choosing not to replay what no longer has power. You forgive to protect the future, not to excuse the past. There is also a call to renew vision. Vision pulls people forward. When vision weakens, distractions gain influence. Begin to refocus on where you are going together, not just what you are guarding against. Hope strengthens bonds faster than fear ever could. Archangel Michael says to remind you that the enemy only studies what matters. It never targets what has no future. The fact that attention was drawn toward your connection is confirmation of its value, not its weakness. You may notice that after this season, your tolerance for emotional games, mixed signals, or unclear intentions will decrease. This is growth. You are being refined for clarity, not chaos. Be patient with yourself as you integrate this new level of discernment. Growth often feels like discomfort before it feels like confidence. Do not rush the process. There is a deeper trust being formed between you and God here. You are learning that God warns without shaming, protects without controlling, and guides without overwhelming. The trust will carry you through future decisions with greater peace. Archangel Michael says something very important now. A situation you feared did not define this season. Your response did. How you stayed grounded, attentive, and calm shifted the outcome. That response is now part of who you are. As you move forward, keep choosing presence over panic. Keep choosing clarity over assumption. Keep choosing peace over pressure. These choices compound over time. This was not a setback. It was a strengthening point. What almost created distance has instead created depth. That is how redemption works quietly and effectively. Stay open to the next unfolding. What comes next will speak about how this experience connects to future responsibility and why unity will become even more important going forward. There is more clarity ahead, and it builds on everything you have already received. Stay with this flow. My beloved child, Archangel Michael now brings this message into a deeper place of understanding, because what you have walked through was not only about protection, it was about positioning. Heaven does not intervene like this unless something meaningful is at stake. This moment was a turning point, not because danger was great, but because destiny is near. Archangel Michael says there are relationships that are comfort-based, and there are relationships that are calling-based. Comfort-based connections are rarely challenged. Calling-based connections are refined. What you experienced was refinement. Refinement does not mean something is wrong. It means something is valuable. You were allowed to see just enough to grow, not enough to fear. That balance is intentional. Too much information overwhelms. Too little leaves you vulnerable. Mercy released the exact measure you needed. There is also a spiritual law at work here. When discernment increases, responsibility increases with it. You are being entrusted with greater emotional leadership. Emotional leadership does not dominate. It stabilizes. It creates safety without force. That is what you are learning now. Archangel Michael reveals that the influence that attempted to interfere has already lost its momentum. Influence survives on secrecy. Once awareness enters, it weakens rapidly. That is why you may feel a quiet shift instead of a dramatic change. Quiet shifts last longer. This season is teaching you how to guard unity without suffocating it. That lesson will protect you in future transitions, when pressures are higher and decisions carry more weight. You are being trained ahead of time. You may notice that your prayers are changing. Less desperation, more confidence, less questioning, more trust. This is not coincidence. This is maturity forming. Archangel Michael also speaks about timing again. Had this message arrived later, fear might have taken root. Had it arrived earlier, discernment might not have been ready. It arrived exactly when your spirit could receive it without panic. That is divine precision. You are not meant to carry suspicion forward. Suspicion belongs to past threat, not future promise. Let it end here. Carry wisdom forward, not worry. There is also a reminder being released over you. You are not responsible for controlling outcomes. You are responsible for stewarding posture. God handles outcomes. You handle obedience and peace. As you move ahead, keep choosing clarity in moments where misunderstanding could easily grow. Choose conversation over silence. Choose prayer over assumption. Use patience over pressure. These choices seem small, but they shape entire futures. Archangel Michael says the next season will require even stronger unity, not because danger increases, but because calling expands. Unity multiplies strength. Division dilutes it. What you are learning now is foundational. Let this truth settle deeply. Nothing that was meant for harm has permission to follow you forward. It ends here. Awareness closed the door. If this message is confirming what your spirit already sensed, respond in faith. Type "I stand in divine alignment" in the comments if you receive this word. Lesson code 888 is now activated over your connection and your household. This word did not come only to inform, it came to ignite light. I hear the Lord saying, as you sow into this message, I will strengthen what is fragile and guard what is precious. When you support this mission, you help this light reach others before confusion damages what God joined together. Your giving becomes seed in fertile ground, releasing clarity, protection, and peace into lives that are still unaware. This is not charity, this is obedience. Move now through super thanks. Step deeper through membership, or sow directly through PayPal, with a link waiting in the description. As you act, may open heavens respond, and may Archangel Michael stand watch over every covenant connected to your life. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now brings you into a place of reassurance that is meant to settle your spirit completely. What hath been corrected will not resurface in the same way. Awareness has changed the spiritual landscape. Once light enters, darkness cannot operate with the same freedom. This is a permanent shift, not a temporary pause. You may still find your mind revisiting moments from the past weeks, searching for clarity or meaning. This is normal. The mind processes what the spirit has already understood. Do not judge yourself for these thoughts. Simply do not give them authority. Let them pass without engagement. Archangel Michael says something very comforting here. You did not overreact, and you did not underreact. You responded exactly as needed. Your calm discernment prevented escalation. That response altered the outcome more than you realize. There is also healing taking place within your emotional memory. Situations that once would have triggered fear now feel neutral. This is not numbness. This is regulation. Regulation is the sign of safety returning to the nervous system. As alignment restores, you may notice renewed ease in communication. Conversations feel lighter. Tension dissolves without explanation. This is not avoidance. It is restoration expressing itself quietly. Archangel Michael explains that when interference fails, it often leaves behind emotional residue, like uncertainty or self-doubt. This residue must be released intentionally. Do not allow doubt to become a habit. Replace it with truth each time it appears. You are also being shown how to trust peace. Many people only trust intensity. They believe something must feel urgent to be real. Archangel Michael says peace is the greatest confirmation of divine order. When peace remains, alignment is present. There is also an invitation to celebrate growth, even if it came through challenge. Growth does not always arrive through joy. Sometimes it arrives through awareness that sharpens wisdom. Honor how you handled this season. Your partner is not unaware of the shift, even if they have not spoken about it. People feel clarity before they articulate it. Give space for that clarity to settle. Let natural conversation unfold when it is ready. Archangel Michael reminds you again that you are not responsible for policing behavior. You are responsible for maintaining presence. Presence creates safety. Safety invites honesty. Honesty restores trust. This is also a time to re-establish joy. Joy grounds relationships in more than responsibility. Do not let seriousness dominate. Laughter, ease, and shared moments strengthen bonds faster than analysis ever could. There is no looming threat waiting to return. Fear likes to predict cycles that do not exist. This situation was intercepted precisely because it was not meant to repeat. Archangel Michael says that what once tried to distract your attention is now fueling your focus. Focus on what matters. Focus on alignment. Focus on faith. The rest will fall into place naturally. You may notice that your prayer life feels quieter but deeper. Fewer words, more assurance. This is intimacy forming. God is not asking you to shout. He is inviting you to rest. Rest is not neglect. Rest is trust embodied. When you rest, you declare that God is active even when you are still. The season is closing gently, not abruptly. Cattle closures leave no emotional wounds. They allow wisdom to remain without pain attached. That is what is happening now. Archangel Michael says to speak this truth over yourself. You are safe, your connection is guarded, and your future is intact. Speak it until your body believes it. As this message continues, what comes next will speak about long-term protection and how what you have learned here becomes a shield in future seasons. Stay with this unfolding. The final pieces are forming, and they bring lasting confidence rather than lingering questions. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now speaks about continuation, because protection is not only about stopping what was attempted, it is about sustaining what has been restored. Many people relax too early once peace returns, but heaven invites you into conscious maintenance, not fearful guarding. There is a difference, and that difference determines longevity. Archangel Michael says this clearly: what you carry now is not anxiety, it is awareness. Awareness sharpens wisdom without stealing peace. Anxiety steals peace without adding wisdom. Learn to recognize which voice is speaking inside you. Peaceful awareness feels grounded. Anxiety feels rushed. Choose grounded responses every time. There will be moments ahead when normal life distractions try to pull your focus away from presence. Busy schedules, emotional fatigue, or routine pressures can dull attentiveness. This is not dangerous, but it is something to be mindful of. Protection weakens not through attack, but through neglect. Neglect does not mean carelessness. It means forgetting to stay present. Your partner is moving into a more stable internal place. Stability does not announce itself loudly. It reveals itself through consistency, through follow-through, through calmer decision-making. Do not overlook these signs because they are not dramatic. Quiet consistency is a sign of realignment. Archangel Michael also speaks about trust being rebuilt in layers. Trust is not restored by one conversation or one good moment. It is restored by repeated safety over time. Allow the time to do its work. Do not rush emotional conclusions. There is also a caution here. Do not turn discernment into hypervigilance. Hypervigilance exhausts the spirit and creates distance. Discernment watches with peace. Hypervigilance watches with fear. One strengthens connection. The other slowly erodes it. You are being invited to return your attention to shared vision. Where are you going together? What are you building? Vision unifies hearts faster than problem-solving ever could. When people look forward together, distractions lose relevance. Archangel Michael says that the enemy never returns to the same door once it has been exposed. It looks for easier access elsewhere. That means this chapter is not repeating. It is closing. You may notice that your emotional responses are more regulated now. This is not suppression. This is maturity. Maturity does not react to every stimulus. It chooses which moments deserve energy. There is also something else, being strengthened. Your intuition. You will sense shifts earlier in the future, not with alarm, but with clarity. This is a gift developed through experience. Do not fear it. Trust it. If this message is grounding you and helping you stay steady, take a moment to engage. Like this video so it continues reaching people who need protection before confusion grows. Share it with someone who may be sensing something subtle but cannot name it yet. Comment so this message gains strength and visibility. Subscribe to this channel to stay connected to words that guard, restore, and guide. When you engage, you are participating in a flow that brings light where silence once existed. Archangel Michael says participation multiplies impact. When truth spreads, deception loses territory. Your engagement matters more than you think. There is also a reminder to return to joy intentionally. Joy is not a distraction from responsibility. Joy is reinforcement of connection. Shared joy builds resilience. Do not rehearse the past season unnecessarily. Reflection brings wisdom. Rehearsal brings stagnation. You have already received what you needed from this experience. You are also being trained to trust peace without guilt. Some people feel guilty when they stop worrying, as if worry is proof of care. Archangel Michael says care expressed through peace is more powerful than care expressed through fear. Let peace become your default state again. It is safe to do so. As this message continues, there is one more layer ahead that speaks about long-term spiritual covering and why this awareness will serve you years from now, not just in this moment. Stay with this unfolding. Trust me, what comes next will connect everything in a way that brings deep reassurance. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now brings your attention to the long view, because what you have just walked through was not only a moment of protection, it was a lesson in endurance and foresight. Many people survive a season, but few allow a season to shape them wisely. You are doing the latter, and that distinction matters greatly. What has been restored is not fragile. It is settling into strength. Fragile things require constant checking. Strong things require consistent care. You are transitioning from emergency response into sustainable alignment. This shift is subtle, but it marks maturity. Archangel Michael says there is a spiritual covering now reinforced over your connection. Covering strengthened when awareness meets obedience. You received the warning. You responded with calm. You stayed present instead of reactive. Those choices reinforced protection far more than fear-driven action ever could. You may notice that you are no longer scanning for threats the way you were before. That does not mean discernment has faded. It means trust has taken root. Trust does not ignore wisdom. It rests within it. There is also something being healed in how you relate to uncertainty. Before, uncertainty may have triggered anxiety or the need for control. Now, uncertainty feels manageable. This is not because everything is known, but because you trust God's involvement even when everything is not explained. Archangel Michael explains that future seasons will bring moments where discernment is needed again, but it will feel different. Less heavy, less urgent, more intuitive. That is the reward of handling this season well. You are not starting from zero next time. You are building on experience. You are also learning how to let things resolve without your constant intervention. This is a sign of deep faith. Faith does not hover. Faith releases while remaining attentive. Your partner, too, is benefiting from this atmosphere. When pressure is removed, people often realign naturally. They return to themselves. They reconnect with values. They choose clarity without being forced. This is happening quietly. Archangel Michael says quiet realignment is the most lasting kind. Loud corrections often create resistance. Quiet clarity creates ownership. You may find yourself less interested in analyzing motives and more interested in nurturing connection. This is healthy. Analysis has a place, but it cannot replace presence. Presence heals what analysis cannot reach. There's also a call here to honor what you learned without carrying the weight of how you learned it. Wisdom does not require ongoing tension. Once the lesson is integrated, the tension can be released. You are allowed to move forward without looking back constantly. Looking back does not prevent repetition. Awareness does. Archangel Michael reassures you again that no unfinished business remains from what was attempted. Nothing is lingering in the shadows. The door closed fully when light entered. Peace is not temporary here. It is earned through alignment. You may notice that future decisions feel clearer. You trust yourself more. You second-guess less. This confidence is not arrogance. It is grounded discernment. There is also something forming in your spiritual life. A quieter faith. A steadier trust. Less emotional fluctuation. This kind of faith weathers storms without panic. Do not underestimate how significant that is. Archangel Michael says this experience also refined your patience. Patience is not passive waiting. is active trust. It is choosing not to rush outcomes. That patience will serve you in areas beyond this relationship as well. As you move forward, remember this truth. Awareness is not meant to keep you on guard forever. It is meant to teach you how to live freely with wisdom. You are now stepping into a season where life feels more balanced again. Normalcy returns, but with deeper roots. Enjoy that normalcy. Do not search for problems to justify peace. Peace is justified on its own. This chapter is closing with strength, not scars. You carry insight, not wounds. Stay grounded in what you know to be true. God warned because God cared. God intervened because God is invested. That is not change. There is only one final movement left in this message. What comes next is not about warning or correction, but about sealing, blessing, and confirming what has already been done. Stay with me, because the final revelation brings completion and deep reassurance that will settle your spirit fully. My beloved child, Archangel Michael now brings this message to its place of sealing. What was opened has been addressed. What was threatened hath been guarded. What was shaken hath been stabilized. This is not an ending marked by fear, but a completion marked by authority and peace. Heaven does not leave assignments unfinished, and neither does God leave his children without covering. Archangel Michael says this moment is about confirmation. Confirmation that you heard correctly. Confirmation that you responded wisely. Confirmation that divine mercy did exactly what it was sent to do. Nothing slipped through unnoticed. Nothing escaped oversight. What mattered most was never in danger of being taken. There is a final truth you must carry forward. Awareness was given not to burden you, but to free you. Freedom does not come from ignorance. It comes from clarity paired with trust. You now walk with both. This season hath permanently strengthened your discernment. You will not return to who you were before, and that is a gift. You are calmer, clearer, and more anchored. Situations that once would have unsettled you will now be met with wisdom instead of worry. This is growth that cannot be undone. Archangel Michael confirms that the covenant you were concerned about is under active protection. Not passive hope, but active guarding. Heaven responds to alignment with reinforcement. Because you stayed grounded instead of reactive, protection deepened instead of thinning. You may feel a sense of closure settling in your spirit right now. That is not emotional detachment. That is resolution. Resolution means there is nothing left to chase, fix, or fear. The matter hath been handled. Carry this forward without rehearsing it. Lessons are meant to be integrated, not replayed. You now know how to recognize subtle shifts without panicking. You know how to stand present without controlling. You know how to trust God without demanding constant reassurance. Archangel Michael says this experience has quietly prepared you for future responsibility. Not by hardening you, but by stabilizing you. Stability is rare, and heaven values it deeply. Your future is not marked by near misses. It is marked by guidance. The same God who warned you will continue to guide you. The same mercy that intervened will continue to surround you. Let joy return fully. Let normalcy return fully. Let love flow without suspicion. You are safe to move forward. Now receive this final seal. If this message has aligned with your spirit and brought peace where there was concern, respond in faith. Type "I am sealed in divine protection" in the comments if you receive this confirmation. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your life, your partner, and your future. And as this word completes, hear this invitation flowing directly from heaven. I hear the Lord saying, as you sow into this message, I will establish what concerns you, and guard what you cannot see. This revelation must reach others before their window of mercy closes. Your support turns this word into a river, carrying light into homes, relationships, and hearts that are still unaware. This is not a donation. This is a prophetic response. Release your seed now through Super Thanks. Step into deeper alignment through membership, or give directly through PayPal, with a link waiting in the description. As you act, may God bless your obedience, multiply your peace, and may Archangel Michael stand watch over everything your heart holds dear.